Anthropic just shared a number that's honestly a little hard to believe. Their engineers now ship, on average, 8 times as much code every quarter as they did a year ago. Not 8% more, 8 times. So Lenny Rachitsky sat down with the person who runs the team behind it to ask the only question that really matters. What is she actually doing differently? Her name is Fiona Fung. She leads engineering for Claude Code and Cowork at Anthropic. She's been building software for 25 years, and what she shared is basically a survival guide for working in the age of AI. A huge thank you to Lenny's podcast for this conversation. I pulled out the 8 clearest lessons, and I'll play you her own words so you hear it straight from her.
Anthropic engineers on average ship 8 times as much code per quarter as they did.
Everything she said hangs on one big shift. For Fiona's entire career, the slow part of building software was writing the code. That was the bottleneck. And almost overnight, it vanished. Here's how she puts it.
Coding is no longer the bottleneck.
Lesson 1. When the hard part disappears, the question changes completely. It's no longer, can we build this? It's, how ambitious are we willing to be? Listen.
Be like everything is now possible in theory. Now it's about how ambitious and how big can you think.
Think about what that means for you. The skill that used to get everything, typing out code, is no longer the thing holding you back. Fiona points out that people on her team now ship features way outside their specialty. Someone who's never built a mobile app shipping a full mobile feature just because the AI handles the parts they don't know. So stop asking what you're qualified to build. Start asking what's actually worth building. That's the whole game now. Lesson 2. If writing code is easy now, the new hard part is knowing it's correct. When designers, product managers, and engineers are all shipping code, the bottleneck quietly moves to one place, reviewing it all. And Fiona says it caught even Anthropic off guard.
Yeah, and honestly, it's crazy when you think we didn't even have Claude Code reviews last year. And so speak of bottlenecks, that was a really, really big bottleneck of, the human reviewers.
A year ago, they didn't even have automated code reviews. And human reviewers became the single biggest jam in the whole system. So what's the mindset? She sums it up in 3 words.
So I would say whatever are the parts that it's all about trust but verify. The models are really good, but there are definitely a lot of areas that still need, the verification.
Trust, but verify. The models are genuinely good, so trust them to do the work. But never skip the checking. So the lesson for you. As you start shipping more with AI, put your energy into verification, reading, testing, confirming it's actually right. That, not typing, is the skill that's about to be worth the most. Lesson 3. And this is the practical trick that makes lesson 2 actually work. Here's Fiona's insight. AI is fantastic at checking work against a clear standard. It's just bad at guessing what your standard is. So the move is simple. Write down what good looks like and put it right next to your code. Whatever great means for your project, the rules, the spec, the examples, get it written down and checked into the repo. Then, an AI reviewer can constantly confirm the code still matches what you actually wanted. Fiona calls this test-driven development reborn. Writing down the spec used to feel like a tax nobody wanted to pay. Now, the AI writes it for you. The takeaway works for anyone. Before you ask AI to build something, spend 2 minutes describing what a great result looks like. That short description is what turns a decent answer into exactly the one you wanted. Lesson 4. This one is about how her team actually runs, and it's pure gold for any leader. At Anthropic, everyone gets enormous freedom to chase any idea they believe in. But there's a catch that makes it work. Here's how she frames it.
Agency. And then we say with high agency is also high accountability. So it's all about making sure folks have that freedom to cook, but then it's also okay, what's the accountability for it as well?
High agency, high accountability. The freedom to cook, as she calls it, only works when it's paired with owning the result. What was your hypothesis? Did it work? Did it cause problems? Freedom without accountability is chaos. Accountability without freedom kills motivation. You need both halves of that coin. So if you lead a team, give your people real freedom to run, and in the same breath, make them the clear owner of how it turns out. Lesson 5, and it might be my favorite. With AI letting everyone move faster than ever, the fear of messing up can quietly freeze people. Fiona has a saying. She lives by that, completely reframes it.
Like I have this saying, make new mistakes. Like it's okay to make mistakes, just make new ones so that we're always learning. Because if you aim to make zero mistakes, like that probably means you're not, moving fast enough.
Make new mistakes, not no mistakes, new ones. Because every new mistake means you pushed into new territory and learned something. And then the line that should be on a wall somewhere. If you're aiming for zero mistakes, you're probably not moving fast enough. In a world where building is this cheap, the only real failure is being too scared to try. So give yourself and your team permission to make brand new mistakes. Lesson 6. This is how Fiona spots the next big thing before anyone else, and it costs nothing to copy. She watches for what she calls latent demand. The signal is people quietly jumping through hoops to make your product do something it was never built for. Here's the idea.
Because actually, when you see people jumping through hoops to make something work, can you actually make that an even like a smoother and better experience?
When you see people bending over backwards to force something to work, that struggle is a map. It's pointing straight at your next product. This is exactly how two real things were born. Non-coders kept hacking Claude Code to do non-coding work. So that became cowork. So whether it's your product, your team, or just your own life, watch for the workarounds. The thing people are struggling to do is the thing they're desperate for someone to make easy. Lesson 7. With AI, it is dangerously easy to look busy while going nowhere. More code, more tokens, more activity. Fiona has a warning for exactly this trap, and another saying for it.
Really, like don't forsake motion for progress, because if
Don't mistake motion for progress. Lines of code, tokens burned, tools used, those measure activity, not impact. The whole mood, she says, has shifted from spending as much as possible to asking a much better question. What's the return? Is this output actually moving the outcome I care about? And sometimes the metric itself is lying to you. She tells a story from Facebook Marketplace where a region that looked weak by one number was actually winning in a way the metric just couldn't see. So always ask, is this real progress or just motion? And does the number I'm chasing still even measure the thing that matters? Lesson 8. And this one is the most human and the one nobody warns you about. When AI makes everyone wildly productive on their own, something quietly breaks. Here's the cost Fiona noticed on her own team.
well, we felt it could start being a lonely experience because we all started just working with our agents so much. So recently, we started maybe a pairwise programming lunch.
It gets lonely. When everyone's heads down with their own agent, the team stops talking, and some of the best parts of the work just disappear. Her fix isn't complicated. Build the human moments back in on purpose. Her team started pairwise programming lunches, where you actually watch how differently someone else uses the very same tool, plus regular hackathons. So as your tools get more powerful, protect the human side on purpose. Productivity, you can automate. Connection, you have to choose. And underneath all 8 lessons, Fiona kept circling one bigger thing, a gap that's opening up between two kinds of people right now.
As the role has transformed in such a crazy way, some people are thriving, some people super frustrated, unhappy, fighting, resisting.
On one side, people leaning into AI and flying. On the other, people frustrated, resisting, a little afraid. And her advice for closing that gap is the most important thing in this whole video. The difference, she says, is whether you feel this is happening to you or for you.
And so if you think about, okay, what is in your control? Instead of happening to you, is it happening for you? And then but for anything that, that there is a fear, my advice is kind of lean in and ask, okay, is there what can I do about it? What is within my control?
Lean in and ask, what is actually within my control? You can't control that the world is changing. You can absolutely control whether you learn the tools, run the experiment, and make your new mistakes. That single shift from this is happening to me to this is happening for me is the whole difference between the two sides of that gap. So here's the whole survival guide in one breath. 1. Coding stopped being the bottleneck. So think bigger. 2. Verification is the new job. Trust, but verify. 3. Write down what good looks like and let AI grade it. 4. High agency, high accountability. 5. Make new mistakes, not zero mistakes. 6. Watch for latent demand, the workarounds people put up with. 7. Don't mistake motion for progress. And 8. The work gets lonely. So build connection back in. You don't need all 8 today. Pick the one that hit hardest and use it this week. If even one of these gave you a new way to look at your work, do me a quick favor. Subscribe here on YouTube and follow Hyper Automation Labs on Facebook and Instagram, where I break down the smartest people in AI every single day. And go watch Fiona's full conversation on Lenny's podcast. It's genuinely worth your time. Link is below. I also turned all 8 lessons into a free 1-page cheat sheet. Just comment the word ship and I'll send it straight to you. And if you want to go deeper, my premium guides on Claude Code and AI are linked right below. Now go pick one lesson and put it to work.